Welcome to the Strange and Unusual Book Club. I am Gory Movie.
And I'm Killer Kayla.
Yeah, we didn't do our Merry Meet Weirdos.
No, I know.
I'm like out of practice. I'm out of practice because I'm moving. I'm moving is what I'm doing.
It's all packed up.
How's our mic sound? I don't know what's going on with that.
Mic
Yeah.
check. 1, 2.
No, the fan's going crazy. So, yeah, I am in the process of moving. That's why everything is so bare, but I did get the 2 newest Matt Dinniman Dungeon Crawler Carl books, and we got them all signed, and they're incredible, but they look really pretty on the shelf, so I'm not taking them down. And then also for book haul this month, because I had it pre-ordered, and it was my birthday, MA, I got Why We Love and Hate Twilight. So this gal, Sarah Elizabeth Gallagher, I follow her on TikTok and Instagram. She's really, really funny and knows a lot about Twilight. And yeah, I think it's cool that she finally made a book that it's like even you can love something and still recognize that it's got problems. And that I think you're treating what you love as an art form when you're able to criticize. And that's part of what we do here. Like we love the books most of the time that we're talking about, but critiquing them shows that they are worthy of criticism, that they are art. So yeah, this is kind of I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm excited because she's really funny. And then I got myself Delilah versus the Ghastly Grimm, which we're going to be reading here tonight. I'm really excited. Like, look at this gorgeous cover art here. It is
really, really beautiful.
It is so beautiful. Just exactly the way I pictured the characters and such, too.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful cover. So I really love this. I actually, I got it in paperback because I'm poor. But now, I like it, and I'm probably going to upgrade it to hardback, and I don't know.
I sometimes find paperback is easier to read.
Well, that's why I got it, because I prefer to read paperbacks, but then when it comes to, just keeping a collection, I like the hardback, because I'm particular like that.
You really are. You're so classy.
And
as Delilah would say, but she would say it in a snarky way.
Classy.
So classy.
I can't wait to talk about that. So Farpoint Station is in the chat. He says, driving, but I'll jump on as soon as I get home. Thank you both for coming out tonight. Thank you. You're our ride or die.
You are.
We were kind of sad because we thought nobody would come.
But we can always count on you.
We can. You're our friend. All right, Kayla. So did you get any new books you want to talk about?
I did not. The only one that I've gotten recently is this copy of The Hobbit in Spanish. El Hobbit.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite things when I was in Spanish, I was like, I'm going to watch some things in Spanish.
Yeah.
I watched the Buffy musical and walked through the fire. It was like, en fuego.
I am going to have to watch that. That sounds amazing.
I love it. I prefer that song now in Spanish. It's so pretty.
I bet it is. I love that. So yeah, that's all. I haven't bought a lot of books. No, that's not true. I did buy, I forgot a couple.
You got some Brandon Sandersons.
I did. I got some Brandon Sandersons, and we went to this antique mall. We were down in New Mexico, and I got a copy of The Long Walk by Stephen King.
I actually really want to read that because the movie's coming out, and I've actually not read it.
Yes, I have not either. So I dropped the ball because all I was thinking of was making sure I brought all my Hobbit paraphernalia.
It says we have a warning on our stream. Hopefully it's still okay. If the stream quality is bad, I'm sorry. Set your streams bitrate to 6,800. I don't know. Here. Well, tell us about the books you got. I'm going to look at this really quick.
What did I get? I took a picture and I posted it on the things. I went to the local bookstore and I met a lady there, and she actually had Phantasma in her hand. And I was like, I just read that book. You should get it. It was actually really good. And then I also talked her into picking up Witchcraft for Wayward Girls and The Magician's Hand, The Frugal Wizard's Hand Guide to Surviving Medieval England.
Whatever it was.
Whatever it was called. I talked her into picking up both of those because I said that was the only Brandon Sanderson I'd read. And she was looking for the Mistborn series. She found that. I also grabbed a copy of that. And The Way of Kings. The Way of Kings is like this big.
Who wrote that?
Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, wow.
It's like serious business. And then I picked up a copy of Carrie because we had just read The Way to Blood. And I was like, I should read the source material.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's what I got.
I did try to fix our bitrate, so I don't know if they can tell or not, but hopefully it's good.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Are we still live? I'm going to double check. I think we are. Are we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, good. Because I just tried to fix it, but then you just never know. You never know, dude.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
Everything's good.
Everything's good.
Everything's good.
Don't you
we're
worry.
Fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Do you want to share our Hobbit paraphernalia?
Yeah, so I have...
Oh my god, he looks so cute.
Are you kidding me? He's a
I love
monster.
Smeagol.
I think he's disgusting.
Why'd you buy a little statue of him?
I didn't. It was a gift.
Well, he's cute.
He's pretty cute. So I have this Smeagol. He's got a fish in his hand because that's what he eats, is soft fishes, as well as goblins and human babies and hobbits when he can get his hands on them. Yep. So there's Smeagol, and then these two copies of The Hobbit came in. They come from box sets, so I have the other books that go with them. This is like a book club edition that I stole from my friend in like the 6th grade.
Nice.
And then I have Spanish. This one I found at a thrift store, and this other one was a gift. It's an illustrated edition.
Oh, nice.
And then I have this Funko Pop that is Gandalf.
Dude. He's got such like Big Daddy energy.
He really, really does.
He really does. Like, you just want him to come. Like, I was so relieved in the book when he shows up again. I'm just like,
oh, thank goodness.
Gandalf is here. We're safe.
Yes. When they're, I don't remember which part it is. Oh, I think it's after they escape the goblin tunnels, and he's fighting with the dwarves about going back to save him, and he's like, he is my friend. Like, we have to save him. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he loves Bilbo. So yeah, that's what I have.
Alrighty. So what do we want to talk about first? Hobbitses?
Sure, let's talk about
We are talking about Hobbitses.
Yeah, we might as well.
So just my little preface here, going to start trying to give you guys the information. I mean, you guys know The Hobbit, so this one feels a little like redundant.
Yeah.
But The Hobbit has a 4.29 on Goodreads, which is fantastic. Anything over a 4 is generally like, you probably should check it out.
Yeah.
The average is a 5. So like that's, as far as it has more 5 stars than anything else, if that makes sense. And it is 366 pages. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's not very long. I
don't think you really need to tell them a whole lot of detail.
No.
It's essentially, it's the prequel to The Lord of the Rings, which I think a lot of people are familiar with. And what's it about?
So it's about our good little friend, Bilbo Baggins. He is a hobbit. We get a whole introduction as to what it really means to be a hobbit, what they're all about, what they stand for.
I love it.
It's so good. It's so good. And so, but Bilbo, he's at home. He's doing his thing. His little Gandalf walks up, and he doesn't really know who he is at first, but Gandalf has like been around in their world for a while.
He's got a reputation.
He's really good at fireworks. I have a lot of like deep knowledge about things, so I'll try not to dork out too much.
Dork out, dude.
Gandalf has a lot of control over fire. That's like one of his like things. He, in the Fellowship, I think he says that he's like the servant of the something flame. So he's really good with fire. And you see that a few times in this story. So that's how Bilbo knows him. He used to come around
Bilbo's the best name I've ever heard in my life.
Come up with...
if I had my son now, he would be Bilbo.
I don't remember... Oh, I think... Is Bilbo's dad Bull Roarer?
Oh, I don't remember.
Somebody along the line is Bull Roarer, but Hobbit names are great. Samwise Gamgee, he's not in the story, but his dad's name is Hamfast.
I love it.
Hamfast.
I love Hobbit names. Yeah. Hobbit names are the best.
They're the best. So Gandalf shows up, and he thrusts upon Bilbo 13 dwarves. Who are looking, they need a 14th member for luck, and they're going to go to the Lonely Mountain and get their home and their treasure back from Smaug, the dragon. And that's the adventure that they go on, and they have a lot of trials and tribulations.
And why do they need to get the treasure from Smaug? Because that's kind of the big thing, is why the dwarves want it.
They've been homeless for...
Smaug took...
hundreds of years.
The dwarves lived in this big mountain.
Yes.
And that was where dwarves lived. Mm-hmm. And then when Smaug went in there and took all his riches and stuff, it made to where the dwarves have nowhere to live, so they're like nomadic now.
And he killed a lot of their family and friends. He burnt down the whole nearby city of Dale. Smaug. And Smaug, as far as dragons go, he's like small. He's on the smaller side of dragons. But he is a son of a bitch.
And I think, like, for me, that's the biggest thing I got out of The Hobbit, which I think is very different than what I took The Lord of the Rings to be about. The Hobbit, I felt at its core, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm new to this. This is my first time reading it, guys.
This is my fourth time.
I feel like The Hobbit is about the importance of home. And, we know that initially from Bilbo, because he loves his home. I like how he toys with like two different sides of his personality. He does crave adventure, but he loves his home, and how home is the place where you're safe, and home is the place where you can just relax, and how these dwarves don't have that. And there was actually a line in the movie that I actually thought was really good. And Bilbo comes back and he says, they're like, I thought you wanted to go home. He's like, yeah, I do, but you don't have a home. And so I thought about that, and basically I came back. I'm paraphrasing here, but that's kind of what I took this whole book to be about, like how everyone deserves a place to call home, a place where they are safe.
That's a really interesting take on it. Every time I read it, I feel like I get something different out of it. And I did make a note about like the comfort of your home. Like, everybody does deserve that, like where you're going to have your 3 square meals, and you're going to be able to sleep in your own bed and make your tea and do all your things. But when I'm reading it, it's more about like being grateful for that, but also having the courage to step away, which is mostly Bilbo's thing, not so much the dwarves, because they're almost ripped from them.
There's something Gandalf says at the end that I think is kind of important too, where he kind of talks about how hobbits are great because they have simple comforts. Like if somebody says, I think it's Gandalf, that wouldn't it be great if we all just wanted a good meal?
Yeah.
If we could all just be happy with that instead of like glory and all of these things. If we could all just be happy with a good meal and a warm pair of slippers.
Yeah, and a nice garden, good
the simple things.
Yeah.
And if I think that, again, is just kind of just appreciating just having a home, because I think people take that for granted, especially when they are fixated on things like gold and glory and stuff. And the dwarves, it almost becomes their undoing. It becomes Smaug's. The gold in this is almost like the ring in Lord of the Rings. It's a lot of people's undoing. And Bilbo, he accepts some at the end, but he's like, he just wants to get home.
Yeah.
And
he just wants this all to be over with. He wants everybody to be cool.
Yeah, I feel like the quest for gold and glory is fleeting, and it can become your undoing, and it can ruin your heart or your soul.
Yeah.
But the simpler pleasures like a good meal and friendship, songs, and your home, that those are the ones that, like, it's kind of like the garden of your soul. If you tend to those things, you'll be happy.
I agree with that completely. Because like, Thorin himself, his greed, like, because he doesn't want to share any of his treasures, any of the treasures that they end up with. And that's why we have the Battle of the Five Armies in the end. It ends up changing the reason for the war. But, like, the men of Lake Town, they're like, hey, we killed the dragon, so we should get a share because our home is gone.
And he also stole from them too. Smaug stole from lots of people.
From the Lake Town. And
the gold is largely the dwarves, but he also took gold from other places.
And without the men, without Bard, Smaug would probably still be alive. They probably would have killed him eventually, but Bard did it. And then for the elves, they had this very prosperous relationship with the dwarves before, and that all kind of fell into ruin when the dragon came and took all their treasures too. And so they feel like they're entitled to some compensation. And that's ultimately what starts that battle, is everybody wanting a piece of the pie.
And even just the way that Tolkien prioritizes story, like he will have he's like, I think 2 or 3 chapters of just walking home. I'm like, hey, wherever we came here on the way up, like, and the Battle of Five Armies, even though there's a whole movie of just that, it's honestly like, it's like 2 chapters.
It's pretty short.
And I think even Tolkien is trying to say that war, gold, these things are not important. It's not even worth me spending a lot of time in this book about.
Bilbo's unconscious for the whole war.
Yeah.
He's like knocked out. And the goblins too. The goblins have a lot of, they're awful.
And the creatures that he are villainous are the ones that are the most like covetous of jewels and stuff, like Smeagol, Smog, the goblins, the trolls, and even the dwarves, because they can get really, really enraptured by gold. They kind of turn towards the end there. They're redeemed.
Yes, they're redeemed because they end up having the common enemy in the goblins.
And I think that, too, it just kind of showed that, like, friendship was what brought them back together. Yeah. And that was what was more important.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. What else did I have to say about... So when they're on their adventure, they run into a couple things. Bilbo Baggins is the luckiest character to ever walk the face of any earth.
I like that they acknowledge that, though, because there's a lot of times when you're like, oh, how convenient that eagle showed up just now to save you. But they do mention that, wow, this guy's really lucky. Yes. And I think you have to wonder, why did Gandalf choose him? And I know Gandalf, it seems like he spied a bit of adventure in him when he saw him as a boy, and he knew there was this Tooks part of Bilbo that hungered for adventure, and he also knew that combined with the good heart of a hobbit is what they needed, because the dwarves can be very greedy.
Well, and he even says at the beginning that, like, whatever's going on in Middle Earth at the time, there's no heroes around. Like, there's no, like, knights or anything. So he's like, we'll have to settle on a burglar because we don't have anybody else. We don't have anybody who can
Bilbo's not even a burglar.
He's not even a burglar. He's just, hobbits are small and, like, nobody really notices them, and they can be really sneaky and quiet. And then he finds the ring, which also lends him to be even more sneaky and truly, like, come into his own burglary.
That's one thing I thought was so crazy, because I love that he obviously, Tolkien he obviously had this planned out. So he knew that ring destroyed Smeagol, is the most evil thing in this whole book. And yet there's not a hint of that in this book. And he knew there's going to be 3 whole books just about this ring. But the ring is actually treated like a piece of luck for Bilbo. That he got this magic ring, and how lucky is he? And they didn't even really foreshadow, like, unless you really think, like, it belonged to Smeagol, that can't be good.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought that was really fun, coming to it knowing where... that the ring becomes so important. Yeah.
And I didn't remember how much he talked about Smeagol's life before he came into the ring, like how he lived with his grandmother, and he had all these memories of, like, what it meant to, like, eat good food and not just live off of goblins and fish, right? And he gets really sad and really angry. I liked seeing that part. I had forgotten about that.
I thought Smeagol was really cute. I love how he loves, like, games, and they don't exactly say hobbit, but the way they describe Smeagol physically, how he was small, how he lived in holes, it's like, if you were smart, you could, well, not smart, that sounds really mean. If you were, keen to the details that Tolkien was sprinkling, you would be like, oh, he's a hobbit. I don't think I would have picked that up.
Well, he's a hobbit-like
there.
creature. So Smeagol...
But he was a hobbit.
He was something like a hobbit. Not quite a hobbit. He's like 900 years old.
He looked good.
Smeagol?
I think he's so cute.
I think
big
you're
puppy dog eyes.
On cocaine or something. I don't...
I love his little eyes.
He only has 6 teeth.
He has energy like my little rooster. Who also only has 6 teeth.
I was gonna say.
My dog.
Yeah, I don't know. He's I have pity.
He's a tragic character.
He's very tragic. I have pity for Smeagol. I see, like, his purpose. I don't think he's cute by any means. I think he's very tragic and sad.
I think that's tragic. I don't think he's cute.
And a little bit of a monster. But it's all circumstantial.
I don't know how to tell you about that.
Yeah.
So what else?
Anyways, what else did I have to say? I always really enjoy the part with the birds in the end when they're, like, getting ready to fight, like the thrush, how, like, the birds can...
It's a little eavesdropper.
He's a little eavesdropper. He's a little bit of a gossip.
And they even notice that it's sitting there.
Yeah, they're like, what is this bird doing here? Like, there's spies everywhere. But he goes and he tells Bard, like, oh, there's a scale that's missing. You can get the dragon here. But how, like, they can understand the birds. And they, like, have this whole hierarchy of, like, the ravens and how their ancestors lived with Thor. And I love that whole part. That part was really, really fun. So I have a lot of notes about the birds. So, yeah, just notes about how, like, Thorin's themes are, like, pride and greed, but then, like, tragedy and leadership, like, he finally finds his home, and then...
They're really complicated characters, and something I really appreciated about this, because these are, like, magical folk, and especially because they're hobbits, which I think... A lot of these kind of stories, the main character tends to be somebody human and tall and muscular. And this is just a little hobbit. He's short and, you know, he's very round in belly, as they say, because he eats 2 dinners and 2 breakfasts. And he's an untraditional hero. But all the characters are treated, like, complexly. They have things that they struggle with. They have... you know, dual natures. All the dwarves and such, too. They're not there for, like, just comic relief like I've seen in some fantasy stories. Or even, honestly, to a degree, the Lord of the Rings movie. Like, Gimli, later on, he gets some stuff. But initially, it seems like he's just kind of there as a foil for the elf character.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, I like the characters. I like Bomber. He's one of my favorites. He kind of gets the short end of the stick a lot. He's like, why am I always last?
I need to watch the animated movie. I only watched because I figured, you know, I'd watched the first of the... I tried to watch the extended cut. What the heck? Why are these movies so long? No, the unextended cut is already 3 hours long.
It's for me.
Killy, dude. Killy can get it. He's hot. He's the guy from Being Human in the British TV show.
I don't know about that. But for me, it's Thorin all day. Every day.
Thorin's hot too.
Thorin's super
There's
hot.
Some hot dwarves in this.
Who was your favorite of all of the characters?
Obviously Bilbo.
Yeah.
Bilbo.
Yeah.
Bilbo every day. Like, so I think one of my favorite passages, honestly, right in the beginning, everything they say about Bilbo, I'm just like, I am here for
He's
it.
like, I love maps. I love this.
This is the very, very beginning of the book. But in a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and an oozy smell, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. I just love it.
Yeah.
Like, and again, even that, like, it kind of drives home, like, it's how important home is.
Yeah, everything with Bilbo is so witty and, like, quick and, like, cute. I don't know. I giggled a lot. He was like, where's my...
I love the whole interaction with Gandalf in the beginning where he's like, nope, no adventures here, thank you very much.
Gotta go.
Or, I actually thought it was a lot better. I will say, I've seen the first movie and the book is so much better. I feel about that movie the way I feel about the Twilight movie, which has grown on me over time, but they take what happens in the book, but the tone they deliver it in is wrong. So, or they change things in how it happens. So yes, Bilbo is bombarded upon by one dwarf at a time. They keep coming in, and he's like really flummoxed. And he was actually prepared for Gandalf to maybe show up for tea. But in the movie, he's really quite rude. And he keeps saying like, nope, you need to leave. And the book, he does not do that. He's like, okay, what do you want? You guys want tea? You want wine? You want some cheese? You want some... Okay, he's running around trying to do it. And he's really, really upset, but he doesn't want to be rude. And I think that's the part I loved the most, was how he's trying so hard not to be rude. But you can still tell that he's agitated. And that's why they sing the song.
I highlighted a part during that where it said he had a horrible thought that the cakes might run short. And then he, as the host, he knew his duty and stuck to it, however painful. He might have to go without.
Exactly. I thought that was so sweet. But yeah, like how he's willing to go without his cakes.
Yeah, to be a good host.
To be a good host. So I like that in the book, how he's really polite and he's a good host. And even with Gandalf, he's not as pushy as far as in like leave. Like, you know, with Gandalf, he's like, okay, well, just come for tea later. Love your fireworks. But no, I don't think I need an adventure.
Yeah, I like that too. Bilbo is one of my favorite characters. He's really great. He's so complex and like he's brave, but he's kind of afraid at the same time. Like he's not just like brave without understanding the dangers of what he's doing, like some brave characters can be. But this time around, I think one of my favorite characters who I really enjoyed a lot was Bjorn. I really liked him a lot. I feel like I got more out of him this read than I had in the past. And I want to know more about him. I want to be a bear and survive off of only honey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I really liked. We'll look at some more of the passages I highlighted.
I highlighted a lot. I was trying not to highlight every single thing.
And that's the thing for me is the biggest draw of this book is the writing style. That is why this is a classic. It's not honestly because of the story. There are some things that are classics like the Odyssey. It's because of the story. It's not the writing. I've read the Odyssey a few times now. The writing's fine. It's the story. It's an incredible story. Honestly, The Hobbit, it's a good story. I'm not going to say it's a bad story, but there are parts where it kind of drags on a bit. Like, I didn't care for the Five Armies part, but I think mostly it's the writing. Like, Tolkien is able, he has this very colloquial type voice. Honestly, it sounds a weird comparison, but Stephen King has the same way, where he almost talks directly to the writer, to the reader. He will talk to you like we're in the same room. He did that especially with Eyes of the Dragon. And Tolkien does that too. Like, he will explain things to you, or he'll be like, well, Gandalf was doing something else. We'll talk about that later. Like, he's sitting here with you. We're having a cup of tea. He is telling you the story. And I really, really like that. And just the little details he adds as he tells the story, like how hobbits brush their feet. Things like that I really, really liked. And just the world building is so rich too. Like, that's the other thing too. And this comparison you won't like, but I think there are rarely books that people just kind of want to climb into and live there, and it's usually because they have great atmosphere and great world building. But the other one for me, like, that would be Twilight. Like, the way it's painted in those books, I'm like, oh, I want to go there.
I want to go there.
I've
Yeah.
been to Forks. It's not as cool. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's not like in the books where it's just magical. This world here is so magical, the way he builds it and stuff, and just even their sayings and phrases, like, may the hair on your toes never fall out. Or when the troll calls another troll a booby, I died.
Those trolls are ridiculous.
My husband's actually a hobbit who brushes his feet. So.
Yeah, I love it. There's a part to that note towards the end where Tolkien's explaining something about Bilbo, and he's like, he was good at a lot of things besides cooking. I didn't have time to explain it to you, and I don't have time to explain it to you now. So let's move on with the story. But I really liked, like, that's the style.
And I think another thing that great writers do, again, I would say this is something Stephen King does, which is what separates him from other just general fiction writers, which he sometimes gets blocked in as, and I don't think that's true. I think really great authors are very wise, and in a way they're almost like philosophers, because they have something to teach us about life. And the reason we gravitate to certain authors is because they help us to make sense of the world. And Tolkien has a lot of lines in here that I'm like, that's incredibly wise. Like, if you want to get to the other side, you must either go through or give up your quest. He fought the real battle in the tunnel alone. So basically Bilbo sees that there's a dragon there, and he explains before he ever saw the vast danger that lay in wait. Like, that was the biggest part, deciding to go forward, not fighting the dragon, but
there's like 4 different points in the book where he talks about how he has to go forward. He can't go backwards. He can't go sideways. Like, he has to go forward, and he has to go through with his quest. And it's a big theme.
And I love this one too. Never laugh at dragons, Bilbo, you fool, he said to himself. And it became a favorite saying of his later and passed into a proverb. Like, I agree. Never laugh at dragons.
Never laugh at dragons. There's another one that's like that where they say, like, it's important to take whether or not there's a dragon into consideration, especially if they live near you. Like, it's just really cute and, like, clever and sweet. And I have still yet to finish reading the trilogy, but now I have, like, a renewed gumption, and I think I'm going to do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to, yeah, that was a lot. I was, like, really good. So, as far as criticisms go, there are some places where I had a hard... Granted, I've also not read that much this month. Danny has read more than me this month because of moving. But there were some places in here where I was not as interested. And I think it's just because there were parts where I feel like this was Bilbo's story, and Bilbo was not instrumental in, like, the Battle of the Five Armies. And so I didn't really care about that as much. I'm glad it was pretty short. But I honestly think we could have ended it after Smaug Cut to him being home. Don't need him walking home either. Don't need that. But, I think it does drive home how far he left, and coming back, he can see how much he's grown. And I think that's what he was trying to do. And it's not an especially long book, so it's not bad. But it does make me think, when I think of, like, the Lord of the Rings books and how long they are, I'm like, I don't know if I can handle that right now. But I will. I will handle it.
Yes.
And also, Andy Serkis reads the audiobooks, and they're incredible.
Oh, my God, they're so good.
But, yeah, as far as, like, it's one of those things where what I really remember and what I really hold in my heart about this book is the phrases, the way he says things, the way he describes the characters. Less like, if you're like, well, what's your favorite part? I guess there's a few scenes I really like, but again, it's because of the dialogue. It's not so much about what happened. Whereas if I was going to talk about something like one of my favorite movies, The Labyrinth, it's going to be a lot, and then this happened, and this is so cool, and then that happened. That's not really what The Hobbit was for me. It was more about the journey than the pit stops along the way. It was the overall journey and how it changed Bilbo that really resonated with me.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great. I have no criticisms of this book, unfortunately, but our rubrics are different. For me too, it's the writing, it's the world building, it's the dialogue. Like, I just want to live there. I pop these movies on. I'm not joking. The other night,
I watched the animated one.
I was cooking. I watched it twice.
And that's another thing too. Like, when people tell you, like, well, that can't possibly be a lie, or that news can't possibly be fake because of all the details. I present to you The Hobbit,
right?
Because I know in Lord of the Rings there's a whole language. There's maps in this. This is so detailed. Like, if you would have told me that he witnessed this firsthand, I'd be like, well, the evidence is here.
It's right there.
I believe it. I mean, especially like back in the 30s when this came out, I'd been like, no, I believe it. I believe it.
It's the best.
How can you make it all? He's got such an incredible imagination.
I agree. Yeah.
So, is there anything else we want to say? Oh, the other criticism I had. This is a small one, but I found this is an issue I have with fantasy books, is the lack of female characters. Yeah. I feel like when it comes to characters that also need to be used for comic relief, they're almost always exclusively male. Even in one of my favorite movies, The Labyrinth, all the fun fur characters are male. It's like, I think that's where some people you have to wonder where cultural things come from. Where, like, women are not funny. Look at a lot of the cartoons and stuff we grew up with. There's very few female characters, and especially very few that get to be funny. There's very few fur characters or dwarves or anything that are females that get to be full characters. Yeah. And in this, I think we could have had some female dwarfs. Yeah. I know it was the 30s. I think we could have had some female dwarfs.
Well, but that's no excuse, because even like C.S. Lewis, he has some really amazing, strong female characters. And I guess I agree that J.R.R. Tolkien does not have a lot of strong female characters. I don't know. I don't think about it when I'm reading it. Like, it's not something that comes to my mind. But
anything that ruins it. Again,
no.
I mentioned Labyrinth. I mean, the main character's female, but everybody else is a dude.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I would have liked to see.
Yeah. Well, and even when I was reading...
If I had notes to give him.
The Sword of Shannara, we don't get the first female character until like 2/3 of the way through, and it's like a cliffhanger. It's like, oh, it's a woman. And I gasped audibly when I was reading that. I was like, oh my God, a lady. So yeah, there's not any in The Hobbit.
I mean, like anything. No goblins, trolls... Nothing.
No, it's all dudes.
It's a sausage fest.
It is. I will say, I mean, this is like a bigger conversation as far as like masculinity goes. Like, it's a pretty like positive masculinity.
I agree.
Like they have like feelings, they express their feelings. There's a little bit of softness. It's not.
And friendship is so prioritized.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about Tolkien's life. I know there's a movie about him, and wasn't he in World War I and stuff? I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, is his time in war, which, in World War I, you're going to be around a lot of guys.
And I know that he likes to, like, he's quoted as saying that he's not a big fan of like a metaphor, right? Like, he's not trying to portray when he's writing that he's taking his experiences from the war, but of course they're gonna bleed through. Like, he lived it. World War I was a huge deal, so you're gonna get those themes. It's gonna come through, even if it's unintentional from his side of things.
And I mean, in Lord of the Rings, there are female characters. That's my issue with this, is that it's not even that there's not strong female. There's just none.
None.
There is none.
Not one.
And it's just something I noticed, being that I'm female. I always want to have a character I can kind of connect to. And I did have characters I connected to because they are so well written.
Yeah.
I connected very much to Bilbo. But I would have loved to see some women in here.
Yeah.
Minor criticism, but in case you're wondering, I only bring these criticisms about not because I think, like, it makes the book not worth reading. It's a wonderful book, and you absolutely should read it. Just so, to explain why I'm not going to give it 5 stars, but also I think it's a art form worthy of criticism.
I like it. I respect it. I respect your criticisms and your rating. I gave it 5 stars. I love everything about it. Go read it.
And you shouldn't listen to me because I'm like,
no, listen. You're so educated and so smart, and I wish I had more to contribute when it comes to that. But for me, it's just vibes. I just want to be there. I want to have tea and cake and honey, and I want to let my hair on my feet grow.
Me too.
I shave my toes.
Why? I let mine grow.
I don't.
That's ridiculous. We should both.
Solidarity. Bilbo would be so upset with me.
Oh my gosh. Danny and I both have very hairy feet.
It's just my big toe.
Oh my god. A little toe beard?
Just a little toe beard.
You should let it grow.
No.
Let it grow. Maybe the hair on your toes ever grow long.
Maybe it will. Anyway, this is my Hobbit outfit because Hobbit's dressed in green and gold.
Lovely.
Sometimes I wear it with brown pants, but I didn't wear those today.
I'm assuming you're going to give this a thumbs up.
Yeah. If I had more thumbs, I would give them all.
Honestly, I don't think... Have we ever given it a thumbs down to some... Very rare. Very rarely. We are very choosy in the books we pick.
Yeah,
we tend to pick things that we know we're going to like because reading takes too long. Movies,
Yes.
I'll watch anything because it's an hour and a half of my time, unless it's a Hobbit movie. But books, that's an investment.
Yeah.
That's basically like buying a ticket to go over on a trip.
Yeah.
You're spending a lot of time with this book. So I'm very, very picky. I look at reviews. That's why I share things like the Goodreads ratings to you guys so you don't waste your time on books that are not worth your time.
Yeah. He's vetoing me growing my hair out on my toes.
Well, I think it's more important that I
stay true to who
you are.
And who Bilbo would want me to be.
Yeah, I mean, who's more wise, Bilbo or your husband?
Bilbo.
See, I would say so too. My husband actually is a hobbit. And we brush our feet together. It's really, you do not know true love until you have brushed your feet with your soulmate.
I can imagine.
I know.
Let's brush our feet together. He doesn't have hair on his feet.
He could.
He's a man. He's a man of Asgiliath or something if he was going to be from anywhere.
Well, I think there's hope for him. Danny gives it a Ned Brandyman out of a Will Brandyman. Which
Those are from
Grunts.
Grunts, yeah.
We're so smart.
Got it.
But yeah, and I mean, I think even if fantasy's not like your thing, whatever, like I know my father-in-law told me that he had to read this in like a sci-fi book class and he was so annoyed that it was fantasy and not sci-fi. Even if fantasy is not your thing, I think some books transcend genre and you just need to read them just for the betterment of your soul. And this is one of those books. I think absolutely The Hobbit is a book you need to read in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think it holds up.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes when I get really like down about the world, I think, how lucky am I to live within the same time frame of experiencing The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and getting to see all these movies. Like, if I had been born, 100 years ago, I wouldn't have gotten this. Or if I was born 200 years in the future, it might not be the staple that it is in my life. And I'm just so grateful.
I think about that a lot. Like, if I was born in, like, my grandmother was like 6 when this came out. Like, and there's so many great classic books then, but I'm like, oh my gosh, all the books that didn't come until later, or movies that didn't come until later. So we live in a blessed time. And what I got out of this, being somebody who is being forced to move, and it stinks. But I have been able to move into a new place thanks to help from a lot of friends and family. And this book just helped remind me that what's really important is the people in our tribe, our friends, our family, the health of everybody around us, that we have enough to eat and that we have a warm place to call our home. And just being grateful for that, because I think, especially when things get really, really hard, sometimes we forget that.
Absolutely.
And that's ultimately what I got from this.
I did have one more question for you before we move on. How did you feel about his descriptions of the spiders?
Well then.
He does not like spiders.
He does not like spiders. However, I think it's smart because a lot of people are naturally afraid of spiders. Spiders are very alien to us. They have many different limbs and such. And he's trying to find things that anybody can relate to. And that's one of the things that makes us timeless. People were afraid of spiders in the 30s. People are afraid of spiders now. So I think it is very effective. And I think if we didn't have it in this book, you wouldn't have it in Delilah. You wouldn't have it in Harry Potter. There's a lot of things that he created here that completely changed the genre of fantasy. Grunts owe something to this. So Dungeon Crawler Carl does. I honestly can't think of a single fantasy book, or even some books that aren't fantasy, like a lot of Stephen King writing and stuff. Like, he tells me he's always trying to find a way to work spiders in because he's afraid of them. So, no, I don't think it's a very pro-spider book, but I think it's an effectively scary scene.
Yeah. Those spiders in Mirkwood, that part,
that's why I wore the spider top today.
They're so scary.
I had no Hobbit-y clothes.
No, you don't.
And I was like, well, what do these books have in common? And then Pipkin, God's favorite boy, Pipkin, I think I am pretty sure Pipkin's a boy. For a while there, I wasn't sure, because Pipkin's really chonky for a boy, but no, I'm pretty sure
Pipkin.
Pipkin, the tarantula.
Yeah.
Who's in his hole right now. His hobbit hole.
His hobbit hole.
That's kind of what's sad, though, is tarantulas honestly are a lot like hobbits. They really just want it. Look at her in her little hobbit hole. Everyone's just in their hobbit holes.
Not a nasty, dirty hole.
They just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
But, Pipkin's like, they both have spiders in them. I'm like,
yeah.
Pipkin, that's why you're in the book club, because you know so much.
But they also both have dragons in them.
I guess.
I guess. Okay. Anyways, that's all I have to say about. I mean, I have a lot to say about the Hobbit.
I think it's cooler to the dragons in this. Like, that dragon, like, I've never read a book where the dragon is painted so awfully. Like, this dragon's stinky and mean and horrible. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, he's a bad dude. I like that part too when when Bilbo's flattering him. And he's like, oh, yeah.
And something else I want to say, too, is even, like, you know, I talked about how, like, there are certain books you want to crawl into. You know, there's a handful of books I can think of where, like Narnia is one of them. Books that you want to go vacation in that world. And obviously people feel that way about Harry Potter. That's why you have so many theme parks and such. But, I mean, even look at, like, D&D. D&D is basically Tolkien's world.
Oh, yeah.
Because people read this and they so wanted to be a part of this world. And what's funny is I think it's kind of advertised as being about, like, there's adventure and war, but really, I mean, it's like you said, these are very characters who really value a good meal, good friendship, good songs, who are unafraid to express how they feel for one another.
Yeah.
And
they're not afraid to be vulnerable and talk about, like, how hard things are. I don't know. Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know, maybe I would love to learn more about Tolkien's life. Maybe was his experience in war, or maybe that's what he had wished, or maybe just, I've never been in war, but maybe being in that circumstance is what makes people more honest.
Yeah. You
know, and more unafraid to be real with people.
Yeah, you get different fears after you see all your friends die.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, well, this isn't my fear anymore. I need to get out what's in my heart before I can't anymore.
And I will say, like, I was just when there were some female characters, but as a woman, I really liked that because I'm like, well, I'm really relating to these characters because they're not the butch, macho, one-dimensional action adventure stars.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, they're, you know, and it makes you realize the shared humanity that we all have, regardless of gender. Yeah. And made these, again, characters that are so timeless and so meaningful.
Yeah. Go read it.
Yes.
Everybody in the world and in other worlds. Go read it. All right. Well, cool. There you go.
Are we actually like moving on at a pretty good pace today?
I think we are.
So, in case you're wondering, yes, we have gone down to 2 books.
Yes.
Just because right now we both have a lot going, especially poor Kayla's in school and trying to do so much, and we're both moms, and we just got a lot going on.
We got a lot going on.
I got all these spiders to take care of.
There's so many. And we just got a new puppy.
But
so.
no, the way we're doing it now is Kayla picks a book and I pick a book, but that does not mean that we don't care about your guys' picks. Mm-hmm. So what we're really encouraging, and I'm going to mention this at the end of this stream too, on social media, in the comment of this video, in the chat, on Goodreads, anywhere, you tell us what you want us to read. We have a list of books that she and I are both interested in, and I feel like we wait till the last minute every month. We're like, what are we going to read next month? What are we doing? But if you have a suggestion and you have it on there with that, we look at that. We look at like, Brandon and Heather have it on their TBR too. Like, we should read it because they would like it too. Yeah. So we care about what you guys want to read as well. So do give us your suggestions, because we're going to pull from that to make our choices. And we're probably going to have like a subscriber or book club member month where we just pick like your guys' picks. Yeah. But right now we don't have any. We don't have any.
We don't have anything.
Except for Mountain Men 2.
Yeah. That's the only one. Yeah. Cool. Love it. Yeah. Send suggestions. Because like, I don't know. I was also thinking like, I'm ready to read like another like a really scary one again. And I just couldn't think of anything.
I couldn't think of any really this month either. But you know, it keeps it interesting. I like that we had a nice, easy fantasy month because
me too.
I kind of needed it.
I needed it too. It was really, really
easy month
great.
For my soul.
Yeah.
This was good food for my soul.
I agree. All right, let's talk about Delilah.
Delilah and the Ghastly Graham. She's like, if the author ever watches this, I apologize. And no, you don't need to use that as your theme song.
But you should.
But you can.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, I'm going to, full disclosure, the reason I heard about this book is because my friend Lee, his wife, wrote it. And it is inspired by their granddaughter, Delilah. So, I am not at all biased. In fact, I hope, because I actually don't know, I unfortunately don't know his wife that well. She seems incredible, and she's obviously very talented. But I'm not at all biased, and hopefully, you know, my friends will understand that any criticisms I have is just because I value it as art, and I think all art is deserving of criticism.
Yes, I agree.
So,
and you're honest. I mean, you always have like,
I try to be fair.
Good feedback for any book that we've read.
Yeah. Even books that I give 5 stars to and stuff, I always have feedback on and stuff. So, and you know, mostly we just pick books that we want to give attention to or that we're curious about and stuff. So,
absolutely.
Anyway, so it will not be any different just because I happen to know the authors. But the reason I picked this wasn't actually because a friend's wife wrote it. I need to update the picture. The reason because I actually have quite a few friends who are authors, and either A, their book is not strange or unusual. One of my good friends has written 2 books, but they're not strange and unusual.
Get on it.
But usually I actually try to avoid picking like friends' books and stuff because I'm worried that, like, what if I don't like it or something? The reason I picked this one was because I really do think it is important that we have differently abled heroes. We don't have too many of those. And sometimes I think when we get them, they're not done necessarily all that well.
Like Fourth Wing wasn't done that well.
Yeah, unfortunately, she never really mentioned that the character had that condition until the end. Or sometimes they will treat the disability like it's a magic power, and that doesn't really do anybody any good. You can add magic to a disability, but if you act like it's some kind of power, like I've seen that done with like the Predator. They tried to do that with autism, how he's just higher evolved. That's problematic. Yeah. That's not what anybody wants for representation. They want characters that they can see themselves in overcoming difficulties. Yeah. Not to be lied to that their difficulties are not difficult.
Yes, I love that.
So this book does a fantastic job of giving us a character who has a disability, but she's on a journey. So to give you a little bit about what this book is about, and well, I guess back up a bit. Let's back up.
Let's back up.
Rewind. This has currently, there's not a lot of readers for this one, so I really hope that more of you will read this, which there's no excuse. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited for $11. You can read as many books as you want. It's on there. The paperback's only like, I think, like $11. It's really inexpensive, and it's well worth your time. It was the winner of the Children's Book International Award for Fantasy. It is the 5-star reader's favorite recipient. And this is a debut novel, so that's pretty impressive. The cover art here was by Michael Dashow.
Fun.
And the story behind it is T.L. McCoy. Her granddaughter has Dravet syndrome. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which is a life-threatening seizure condition where she just has horrible, horrible seizures that can, like, you know, put you into like a coma. They're really, really awful. And I think because it strikes around the time the kid's like 1, like that for a parent has got to make you feel so incredibly powerless. And I can only imagine that watching your granddaughter in a hospital bed, you have to wonder, like, where are they? Yeah. And that might have been where this came from. I don't know. But it was inspired by her granddaughter, who I think is currently 6. She's not Delilah's age. There is a difference here between the two of them. Because she was going to write a young adult, or not young adult, she was going to write an adult thriller. And then she read that there are very few characters, especially for children, that have disabilities. And so she's like, well, we need to go fix that.
Yeah.
So,
and she did it.
So she did it.
Yeah.
She did a book.
She got it
which
done.
Which is really, really hard to do. Like, I've been struggling to do this for a long time. So bravo. But I think this is incredible. I think this is honestly one of the greatest gifts you could give your granddaughter is a story where somebody like her, you know, with her name is the hero. And I think that's pretty incredible. The book itself, and I mentioned Labyrinth earlier, it reminds me a lot of Labyrinth. I'm not saying that like it's derivative of Labyrinth. I'm just saying if you like Labyrinth, you would like this. They're very different stories, but it is similar in vibe.
Yes.
So I think if you like Labyrinth, this is right up your alley. It is about Delilah J. Monroe, which is a super cool name.
Super cute.
Yeah. And Delilah J. Monroe has Dravet syndrome. And she's bullied a lot at school. There are kids who say she has like a broken brain and stuff. And kids who accuse her of faking her seizures and stuff, which is just awful. But
kids are just mean.
I think sometimes kids get jealous of like somebody getting attention. So it is very, you know, believable that there would be kids who deal with that. It's just unfortunate that it results in this poor girl getting bullied. And then her parents are also just knee deep in medical bills. Her brother seems to be struggling a little bit with her kind of being the center of attention and her being so coddled. But then she's also doesn't like being coddled either. No. She can't play sports. She can't she can't do anything fun. She's never gone swimming, you know, which is just really, really sad. And obviously there's good reasons for that. She had a seizure while she was swimming. She would drown, which is just awful.
Yeah, can't happen.
So early on in the book, this kid who bullies her, Samuel, they get into a fight, and then she has a seizure so bad that she goes into a coma. And then, from her perspective, she goes into the other sphere. And the other sphere, it's a different world, like something like Narnia or...
In my mind, it was like Wizard of Oz or
Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. It definitely had those vibes.
The beginning especially gave me some like Alice in Wonderland kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really fun when we get to experience this whole world. So I think honestly in a lot of ways this book can be very healing for parents of a child who has a disorder like this too. Because I think you wonder like where is she right now? And to believe that she is fighting these battles, that she actually is doing something. She's not just like gone. Doing something I think is comforting. So I think that is a little different than making it like a magical power. It's explaining where she is right now and what she is going through. So I think you could read this book honestly like that. Like this is her battling the things that she needs to do to wake up.
Yeah.
Or you can just view it as a straight up fantasy. But I also got Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, which guys, that's the highest compliment.
That's a really big compliment.
That is the highest compliment I can give anything. The reason why is Delilah's a little sassy McSassafras.
Yes, she is. She don't take no shit from nobody.
She does not take no crap from nobody. And I think it's because she has been bullied so much, and though she can't physically really defend herself because she's pretty frail, but she will defend herself with words. And so, like, in the beginning, like, all these people are like, what are you doing here? And she's always like, that's classy. You know? And I especially got the Buffy vibe when she meets Sir Nelid, which is, the creatures in this world are kind of like hybrids. Kind of remind me of like the Wuzzles. You guys remember the Wuzzles?
I remember the Wuzzles.
The Wuzzles were cool.
Yeah.
Wuzzles were cool. They were like hybrid animals, so like two different animals mixed together. Anyway, Sir Nelid is a ladybird. It's on the cover there. There. That can change its colors all the time. But Sir Nelid is totally Giles. But Giles, if he was a little more
immature.
I don't want to say immature. Snooty?
Yeah.
He's constantly telling Delilah that she's not smart enough.
Yeah.
And so she gets really, really sore on it. She's like, are you saying that because you don't think I understand?
Yeah.
I think...
They bicker a lot.
Yeah, they bicker back and forth a lot. Like, they describe it as like siblings. And, so she's kind of like the Buffy to his Giles. Like, that's where I get the Buffy vibes from, in that Sir Nelid a lot of times thinks that she's just not grasping things quick enough. Whereas Viticus is a kangaroo / jackrabbit? Ostrich? I don't remember.
I don't know. I just pictured him as like a kangaroo.
Well, that's him. And I picture him with a lovely Australian accent.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been reading these out loud to my husband. So he's getting like the Gory movie audiobook.
I love it.
Class.
I want
Call me T.L. McCoy if you want a free audiobook.
Right? I want that.
Oh my gosh. My Australian accent's awful.
I bet it's
so
great.
Bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But my Sir Nelid, perfect. Anyway. So... they're like, she's instantly thrown into this world. So what are some of the things she experiences?
She, she gets arrested immediately because she doesn't have what do they call it? An something passport.
It's like an interdimensional passport.
Interplane, something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
Basically means she's like not... like, she's there without a passport.
Yeah, she doesn't have a passport. So she gets arrested. She has to go to court. She gets sentenced to death. But then they're like, well, you're supposed to be this traveler from the tales of old.
That's exactly how they say it every time, which is really funny.
And so let's go on this quest. Let's figure out, because they're all being kind of like, there's what's he called? The Sorcerer Dread. And the Ghastly Grim.
Who is described exactly like Snape.
Yeah.
Like, I pictured Snape.
Yes. Greasy and...
So I can get greasy, too. That's
like,
a Greasy Strangler reference that nobody watching this is going to get.
No, sorry.
Oh my God, I have to watch that.
So, anyway, they're like, well, let's get you to the... they have to go look for the Book of Truth to be able to defeat the Ghastly Grim and the Sorcerer Dread. So, They meet a dragon. They have to save the life of a dragon along the way. Kiarta.
That is one of the things I liked, is we do have a lot of female characters in this. Her two best friends, Viticus and Sir Nelid, are dudes. The villains are dudes, but Kiarta, the dragon, is female. There's a cop rabbit that totally reminded me of that rabbit from Zootopia.
Absolutely.
I loved her.
Her name is Rorita.
Yes, I loved her.
Yes.
And she's a cop, too. So I liked that we had a mix of different characters in this fantasy world, which was really cool.
The Book of Truth itself is a female character.
And it turns into that butterfly from the last uniform.
I'm telling you,
it's the same butterfly. It's the same butterfly.
It might be.
It's the same butterfly.
It might be.
But also, like, it's kind of linked, I think. So it's called Book 1. So we're getting more. I feel like that butterfly in the book are linked to her grandmother, because her grandmother had one identical to it. So I think her grandmother is going to come into play at some point.
I think so, too. She faces a lot of hardships. They're hungry. They bicker a lot. She gets made an offer by the Ghastly Grim to, like, work with him, and she has to, work through that. And
that part, and I highlighted that part, too. That part especially reminded me of Labyrinth. So, you know how, without the undertones in Labyrinth, because with Jareth,
Yeah.
And Sarah, there's something else going on there too.
There's a little tension.
There's a little tension. There's no tension, thankfully, because Delilah's 12. But the Ghastly Graham, the bloke with the violet eyes on the cover there, it's kind of inferred that he is human. So, but he wants Delilah because she's powerful. Mm-hmm. And for Delilah, it's so interesting to go from a place where she's completely powerless to where everyone's like, you're the most powerful person. And she's like, what? Yeah. And so she says, I'm just a girl. And so then the kangaroos don't understand what that means. Mm-hmm. They just call her just a girl. Yeah, like, for forever.
Just a girl needs to go lay down or whatever. Just a girl needs to rest. Which I thought
was really funny.
Yeah.
Pardon me. But there was a passage in here that totally... the Ghastly Grim, who is handsome and horrifying all at once. Mm-hmm. I was like, he's like freaking Jareth from The Labyrinth.
Yeah.
With David Bowie.
Yeah.
Handsome and like, scary. That's the thing. He was terrifying, but you're also like, I mean, David Bowie.
There's something going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I definitely feel like I wanted to know more about his character.
I did.
And I hope that she like explores that further in the books. I mean, I know that like this book is over, but there's definitely something going on there. Like, how did he get to this position?
That's definitely something I want to see too, because but I also think about like how little did we know about Voldemort in the first Harry Potter book.
But we get a lot in the 6th book.
Yeah. So I think we're going to get more, because it is kind of implied like that he's going to maybe come for her world next. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think we will get more, which I think is really good. Honey bunny, what's wrong?
They're poofing.
That's not poofs. I love the scene with the spider. So this was a little more pro-spider. Mm-hmm. She gets there. One of the first creatures she interacts with is the queen of the spiders. Mm-hmm. And she has all her babies up in Delilah's hair. Mm-hmm.
Delilah does not like it.
And she does not like, she's like, why are they always messing my hair? Which is such a Buffy line. But they're not evil. Mm-mm. They like her hair and they want to use it. And they eventually leave her alone, and eventually the queen ends up being helpful. So I wouldn't say it is a negative portrayal of spiders.
I agree with that.
Pip was like, fair.
Yeah, I approve.
Hey, baby, do you want to be part of book club?
Says yes.
Okay. Rocky is part of book club now. Hi, baby.
Yeah.
So there's lots of... I don't want to spoil it for you because I really want you to read this. I'm keeping this pretty vague. Mm-hmm. But I do think that ultimately, like we talked about what The Hobbit was about. And I think that this book was about ultimately finding your own power. Even if physically you may not be that powerful, you have your heart and you have your mind, and that strength of will can carry you through a lot of things. Yeah. And how also like a lot of the important battles we have are internal. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like dealing with our own stuff. And I feel like a lot of that too is like Delilah, when she's facing these things, she's dealing with a lot of things that she's actually dealing with. I also liked, honey, I'm putting you down. He's so heavy. I also liked how she talks a lot about things she's learned. Her grandmother said, always listen to your mother. And her mother said, as long as people ask for it, then they are deserving of forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Which, for a middle grade book, I think is okay. I think it gets a little more complicated if you're getting to some like adult situations. Mm-hmm. But for this book, I think it serves its purpose. Mm-hmm. And so she is bullied by Samuel. But what I thought was really good about this book is we find out that Samuel, like a lot of bullies in real life, he wasn't like a terrible kid. He had been in the hospital a lot. He watched his dad die. Mm-hmm. And it seems like he was lashing out because he was in pain. Yeah. And the book doesn't excuse that. No. But it just explains that, he is complex. Mm-hmm. And when Delilah's in her coma, he actually goes missing. And then he sneaks into her room, and he's obviously very, very worried and feels terrible for bullying her. And he's like begging her to wake up. And how, Delilah, ultimately, that's another power she has. She has the power to forgive this person and to move past that and to not let that bug her. And also, like, just with the bullies at school, whether they ask for forgiveness or not, she has the power of how much she's going to let that destroy her life.
Yeah.
How much she's going to let that hold her back. How much she's going to let that define who she is. And the same thing with her condition. You know, she's constantly told by the kids at school that she has like a broken brain and stuff. But she is only limited by herself. And obviously, yes, she has her disability and she has to be cautious. You know, a little bit of that Bilbo Baggins there. You got to be cautious. You know, she shouldn't be doing things that are reckless. But she also needs to live her life. And I think that's ultimately what she learns, is that she's going to set the limits for herself based on what is good for her.
Like, there's more to her than even she knows.
Yeah, and there's more to her than her disability.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like a big part of her story was, like, the friends that she did make. Like, the way that Viticus and Sir Nelid are there for her. Like, even when... at like towards the end, she's like has to deal with something and she's kind of cranky, and Viticus is like, go rest, like eat something, like you don't have to deal with this right now. And she's like, this is the only time that somebody's really like gotten it. Like she just needs a break. She just needs a break.
And that's one thing I liked about her is she's very much a 12-year-old girl. She likes boys at school. She's starting to get interested in boys. There's, you know, the hottest guy in school like seems to be interested in her and asks her to the dance. She's very, very upset whenever she sees anybody who is bullied, because that's what she's currently dealing with. And so she's coming to this from what she's experienced. And so when she sees the dragon being held prisoner, she's like, this guy's a bully, and so I want to take him down. You know, she's she's smart, but she does feel very much like a 12-year-old. She gets sassy, she gets tired, she gets hangry.
Yep.
You know, her and Sir Nelid bicker a lot. And I think it's good to show that, you know, because that is very human. And doesn't make her like quite like a like Mary Sue or a perfect character.
Pollyanna.
Yeah, exactly. If she's going through this whole thing like, I just want to help people, I think that's what makes heroes and heroines more interesting, when they initially are like, I'm having a bad day, or I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'm strong enough to do this. You know, Bilbo did the same thing too, when they kind of struggle with those things. One of the things is she's told she has powers, and I won't tell you what those powers are or whether or not she actually has them. But she's like, I do not have powers. And it's a big struggle for this whole thing. She's supposed to be this hero of old, which that part kind of made me think of like the Matrix. They're just telling her she's the one. She's like, I don't think I'm the one. But she just wants to go home, which, again, like a little Wizard of Oz, like I definitely see a whole bunch of things that it compares to, but I think if you love any of those stories, you'll love this, and it is unique in its own way.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it was sweet, it was simple, but complex at the same time. Like, simple as far as, like, maybe that wasn't the right word. I don't know. But it's a complex story. There's a lot going on. You can get a lot out of it.
I think it's emotionally complex, but the journey's easy to follow.
Yeah.
Again, like The Hobbit. It's honestly not that complicated. Runs into some trolls, runs into some goblins, gets to a mountain, kills a dragon. Yeah. It's pretty simple, but what makes it a great story is the complicated things that happen internally, and that's what's going on in this book.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Wait, what? Like when the Bahori, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, declare Ben Sisko is the emissary of the prophets in Deep Space Nine. Probably. Sure, yeah. Probably.
You got it. You got it, bud. Nail on the head.
Exactly, Adam. Exactly.
Yeah.
Adam's too smart for us.
I know.
He's out-nerded us once again.
I'm sorry.
Stop. Yeah. So I want to talk about, and please, if you watch this, like, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a freaking expert or anything. This is just reader, like, criticisms and stuff. And mostly it's more just what I want to see in the next book. So I view a second book, or even like a second season of a show, again, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as the chance to really get into your characters and explore them fully. One thing I would really like to see is, like you said, more of the villain backstory, which I feel like she's promising us that a little bit. So I'm excited about that. But I want to see, I know Delilah's getting bullied, and that sucks. But I do want to see her not win so easily in her personal life. So the hottest guy in school asks her out. She plays soccer for the first time ever, and she hits a goal. I have played soccer many times, And I've never gotten a goal.
There are professionals who never get goals.
I am hopelessly uncoordinated. So I had a hard time believing this girl who's never played before, who's always had to sit in silence, she instantly gets a goal, and she gets that great moment. And, it seemed like, her bully apologizes to her. I was horribly bullied. My bully never apologized to me. And I do think that's important because I think it makes Samuel a really good character. So I'm not saying all these things are bad. I'm just saying in her personal life, a lot of things... other things, Delilah's the top of her class. Like, I'm excited for her, but I also know having a kid with special needs that I've raised, kids with special needs miss a lot of school for doctor's appointments. My son missed a lot of school. My son was in the hospital for the first year of his life and was delayed in speech and stuff. And so he's not had great grades. He's not been the top of his class. And so I think... I would like to see her have some more struggles in her life. I mean, the financial things are good.
Yeah.
But, I just think, because I have the perspective of having a son who's now an adult who's struggled with all these things, and he wasn't the best at all these things. He was never good at sports. He was never the top of his class. But my son, what I think makes my son special is his strength of character and his compassion. And I'm sure that's what real Delilah has, and if she happens to be wonderful, all these things, and is a math nerd, more power to her. But I think a lot of kids in this situation are going to struggle with school, and it might make it harder to relate to this character.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it's okay that she may not be good at everything.
Well, and especially having, I don't have like a disability in that sense, but like being able to persevere, right? Like even when you get knocked down, when things don't go your way, being able to like come out on the other side of it and be like, well, this is what I learned from it, because the world doesn't always go your way, and you have to learn how to cope with those things and continue on, and not right away either. Like, you can be down and you can be cranky and you can be sad and be down for a little while, but then the ability to like get back up and have people around you who help you get there too.
And that's the other thing too I want to say is, like, look at the first Harry Potter book. The first Harry Potter book and the last Harry Potter book are very different. There are two kinds of fantasy stories. There's fantasy stories that are escapism and they are fantasies for us to live in. And it's okay to have that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where, like, everybody just wants to go to Hogwarts in the first one. And Harry is not struggling as much as he is in his personal life in later books. And that's why I'm saying, like, this is something I want to see in, like, book 2. Like, it's not a diss on this book or a harsh criticism on this book. I'm saying moving forward, I would like to see more this to add layers to her story. Yeah. Because that's what... the fantasy where we're dealing with real problems in a fantasy realm, for me, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and stuff like that, is more interesting. I also think it's okay. I think it's probably really hard when you're writing a book that's inspired by your granddaughter. And I think it's great that the author allowed her to be sassy and stuff in this, but I do think it would probably be very, very hard to give them flaws and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like, I love Sarah in the Labyrinth, and she's a total brat.
She's
her
a
brother.
big brat, yeah.
She's a total brat, and I think I really like her sassiness. I really like that. I hope she doesn't lose that, because I think that was a really good quality. And I'm really glad that she wasn't just a total Pollyanna. I think that was one of the things I really liked about her.
Sorry, I'm writing a note real quick.
Oh, yeah. Barpoint says, speaking of Harry Potter, you guys should read My Immortal. What's My Immortal about?
Yeah, tell us.
Oh, and do you want us to add it to our recommendation list?
Yeah, tell us more about it first, though.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Like, is it fan fiction? Because we don't read fan fiction.
I mean,
we
in
do
my
our private
personal
life
time, but that's
we
a
don't for
different
book
story. Yeah, I also hope that, I mean, as a debut novel too, like, the writing's only going to get stronger. Like, you just grow. Like, it's a well-written story. I have a very little negative to say about it. It was fun. It was good. And yeah, and she's just going to get better. I'm not writing a book. I can't say much. Oh, it is a Harry Potter fanfic.
It's fanfic.
Great.
But what's it about?
Yeah.
Is it like a Draco Hermione? Is it a Ginny Hermione?
Oh. A Draco
Is it a
Harry?
Dumbledore Hermione? I don't know.
Oh my god.
There are fan fictions of everything.
There is. There really
I have
really
actually
is.
never read a fan fiction.
I have.
But Yeah, are they good?
I mean, some are.
I watched the
some
50
aren't.
Shades of Grey movie. I guess that's fan fiction.
It is. It's true.
Oh my gosh. My little puppy dog. The only other thing that for me was like a criticism is there is some repetitive language. Mm-hmm. Some repetitive language you can get away with. For instance, the word said.
You have to.
We just glaze over it because we see it so much. But when you say something unusual and you repeat it, something that we don't hear all the time, and you repeat it a lot, that's going to stand out to people. And if you repeat it a lot, it will draw them out of the story. So for instance, like in this book, I feel like Delilah knits her brows like very frequently. Mm-hmm. And I think it's good because it's developing like a physical characteristic of a Delilah that's like kind of like something that she does when she's stressed and stuff. However, the repetitiveness of the phrase does to the point where you stop visualizing it. Yeah. So I think there's other ways to maybe describe that or show that tension in other ways, like she clenched her fist or something. Yeah. But yeah, that was the only other criticism, which honestly for a debut novel is like not much. We've read books by people who've written many novels and we're just like, wow. Dude. Just wow. No, this was very well written and very enjoyable. And honestly, this was a really fast read. Mm-hmm. So I've been reading this to Danny, and I got up to about, I don't know, like because I read Danny about like a chapter a night before we go to bed. I read to Danny. And then because we've been so backed up with like moving and stuff, Danny and I a lot of times have not been going to bed at the same time. And I was at like 37% of the book. And I read the whole thing like this morning. And it wasn't me speed reading it. I was enjoying it. But it's a page turner. It's a really easy read.
Yeah. I was at like 79% or something because I was reading it on my Kindle. And I finished it this afternoon because I had like work and we got a puppy and there's all these things going on. And so I just didn't get around to finishing it. But I did finish it and I didn't really rush through it.
I never once had to like go back because sometimes because, I have to go back because I don't understand. Like we even signed up for Storygraph. Yeah. Like when we did Eyes of the Dragon, I was like, did I miss something here? Yeah. I didn't really have that. And that's just because honestly, I am not as well versed in fantasy as I am in like horror or some other things, and so sometimes I think I miss stuff.
I even had to use that super summary thing for The Hobbit. There's a couple things like at the end in the battle part that I was like, wait, what is happening? So
so this was really easy to follow, and I think I highly recommend this to middle grade kids. I think any like middle schooler kid, whether they have a disability or not, should read it, because I think the more you expose your children to different kinds of characters, be they female, be they, of a different race, or if they have a disability, or they have a different religion, just different people. The more different people you expose your child to in real life, in movies, in television, and in books, the better it will be for your kids.
Yeah. Just that empathy, right? Like, even Samuel as a character, like, yeah, he's a bully, but like you also get to learn more about his struggles too, and you can kind of see like it doesn't excuse anything, but you can be like, oh well, this person is being a jerk to me, but you know what? It's probably not my fault. It's probably not my problem. They have other things going on too. You can kind of learn to like let things go a little bit.
That's something else I really want to praise this book for. I think it's very, very hard, especially when you have a character who may be physically frail. And they are like, Buffy, I mean, she has superpowers, but she's like 4'5". Yeah. Like she's not a very big gal, but she has superpowers. But Bilbo, he's a tiny little guy with no superpowers. I'm just saying, a lot of times when you have a character, Bella is a great example, because we got a freaking Twilight in it, like I always do.
We do.
But if you have a character like, Stephanie Meyer said she had to have Bella kind of carried around and stuff because she can't fight werewolves and vampires. She's only human. She's in way over her head. And even though Delilah, too, is in way over her head, there are creatures here that she is not equipped to battle. She's not even that familiar with these creatures. She's dealing with stuff that's very, very scary. Delilah never loses her agency. She is able to utilize her team, which is Viticus, it's Sir Nellid, it's other people she's met along the way. But even then, they never have her saved by somebody else. She will have an assist from somebody in her team, But Delilah always has agency, and I feel like she is consistently the hero of the story without having her do anything unbelievable. Like, she's never like Rey in Force Awakens, even though I love Rey in Force Awakens. Like, I don't care.
I do too.
I don't care that she's a Mary Sue.
Yes. I agree with that. That's an astute observation.
So, I really liked it. I think Delilah is a really cool character, and I'm definitely getting the next book. I will say, yes, I bought this book because I think it's really cool that there's a kid with disabilities. But, like, I bought other books like, that too. Like, I bought the Ables and such. And also because I am acquainted with the author. But I will be buying the second book because I liked this one.
Yeah. I'll be reading the second one. I enjoyed it. I want to know where it goes.
Hardback.
Yeah.
So it can go on the shelf. Let's catch up with our chat.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a notoriously bad... It's bad fan fiction? You want to start me off on bad fan fiction?
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
We're not doing it. Maybe in our own free time. But
maybe
not...
in our free time. We need to have a side book club.
Right.
That we just don't
like
talk
after
That's
hours.
Like Fight Club. What did we not say about side book club? We don't talk about side book club.
It's just fanfic.
Yes. And Farpoint, I want to say thank you. So I did do a fundraiser because we're just personal life stuff. We just have a lot of debt. And a lot of friends came through, including Farpoint, Adam. So incredibly grateful. Like, thanks to you, we have enough money to move, which is incredible because this guy's asking for like last month's rent and a whole bunch of stuff. This is not book club ready, so I'm gonna keep it short. But yes, we did find a place, and I'll be posting pictures on social media as soon as we're all moved in, which is July 1st. So the next book club will be in the new place.
New house.
Yes.
New vibes.
New vibes.
We're gonna do it.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Does she use guns in the book?
No,
she doesn't. But somebody has like a phaser type gun. The cop does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was one of my favorite things that I absolutely loved. They have like octopuses for seatbelts.
Oh my god, that was so cute.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Like, I would love like just even a car seat for kids where they have it just as a little octopus.
I want more of that in the next book.
I loved that. That was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. It was very fun. It was very Narnia feeling.
And it was such a good follow-up, too, because of all the cautions about dragons. Like, she is trying to help this dragon, but she knows nothing about her. It's Sir Nellad's friend. Mm-hmm. But she's like, please don't eat me. Please don't eat me. I am trying to help you.
Let me cut this thing. It's very cute.
I really, really, really liked it. Yes. It was really cool. So I highly recommend this. And truly, like, it's so inexpensive. And, like I said, this is based on a real life little girl who I'm sure, just like this, Delilah has, medical bills and stuff. And so I feel like you're supporting her family by getting this book, which does a lot more for the world than buying the 8th copy of Harry Potter. Not that you don't need that, but get this for yourself too.
I will continue to buy copies of The Hobbit.
Yes, keep buying copies of The Hobbit.
All.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Do I have multiple copies of anything? I do with movies.
Yeah, but you end up giving a lot of those away, too.
I do, because I don't have that many shelves. So I end up, if I upgrade a book to hardback, I usually give it away.
Side tangent, we watched The Hangman the other day you lent me. Yes.
Is it good?
It was very scary.
It's so scary.
It's so scary.
Guys, living in their attic.
Yeah.
It's so
and
scary.
Yeah. It was, Nehemiah and I got into a fight about it because he wanted to sleep outside. And I was like, after what we just watched, no. Like, you stay by me all day. He was very disappointed.
So our ratings for Delilah and the Ghastly, do we both give it thumbs up?
Yeah, absolutely. Thumb up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. And
I gave it a 3.5.
I think a 3.5 is fair. I think on Goodreads I gave it a 3. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I'll read the next one. I think a 3.5 is fair. Yeah. Bam.
3.5. So that's pretty solid. So yeah, definitely highly recommend Delilah versus the Ghastly Grimm. Yeah. And I hope all the titles are super like long and awesome like that too. Yeah. Like all the Harry Potter ones.
Yeah.
Hope they're all like Delilah, Percy Jackson.
On the adventure of her entire life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it, love it.
Okay.
I'm going to finish reading it to Danny. All right, so we're doing pretty good on time.
Yeah, we are. I have to pee.
Go pee, dude.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Then when you get back, we can talk about
our next month's reads. I'm going to be stuck.
Hey, now that she's gone.
Don't touch it.
What? I'm not going to talk that much shit. So, Adam, what are some books that you would like us to read, that you want us to put on our list of books to read? There is one book I really want to read that I have you in mind for, because I know you're such a big Star Trek fan. I think I've told you about it. It's called Red Shirts by John Scalzi, which is basically like, it's basically the Enterprise. It's not officially, but this guy's a red shirt on basically an Enterprise, and he realizes every time they do anything that the red shirts die. So he starts trying to avoid that. It sounds really, really cool. Red shirt. So I'm going to put that on the list. What else do you want? I'm going to write it down here. Okay. So red shirts. What else? Yeah? Maybe we should read Red Shirts next. Well, okay, I have a spoiler for you. We are reading, I've never read a John Scalzi book before. His books sound really, really good. Mountain Man Book 2. I think you and I will have to read that because Kayla never read Mountain Man Book 1. But, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I feel like, Adam, we should just read that and just talk about it. And then also talk about Kayla, who's back, and she's so wonderful.
I feel like you're lying. You're lying.
Okay. So, what we're reading next month. So, I did ask Adam for some recommendations. He would like Mountain Man Book 2. Okay. I told him that's probably not going to happen because you didn't read Mountain Man Book 2.
I haven't, but it's on my list. I do want to read it. It sounds cool.
And we haven't done a whole lot of sequels because I think it's just hard to get people to read a sequel.
Yeah.
But I think, Adam, we're friends on Goodreads and stuff, right? Like, I think I'll probably just read it and talk about it with Adam.
Yeah, there you go.
I know, right? Scus!
You guys are so weird.
I love Scus so much. Okay, so let's talk about what we're reading next month. Yeah. So, the first pick is Kayla's.
Mm-hmm. So I picked The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's everywhere. Like, people rave about it. It's supposed to be like cozy kind of read. TJ Klune, he's kind of local. He's from Oregon.
He was PNW
at a local bookstore not that long ago.
Dude, we should have gone.
I know. I think I messaged you about it, but I didn't know anything about them at the time. Dude. I know. But now we know.
Like, signed books are like my favorite thing ever.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I dropped the ball.
It's fine. We saw Matt Dinniman and it was lovely.
So let's read.
So this book came out in 2020. Yeah. So glad something good came out of that year.
Right.
And it has a 4.38 on Goodreads, with the average being a 5. So that's great. Mm-hmm. It was a Goodreads Choice nominee for Favorite Fantasy that year. It's 394 pages, 12 hours audiobook narrated by Daniel Henning. It's $11.99 on Kindle and $11.11 on paperback currently. And there are 2 books in the series right now.
Yeah.
So here's the plot if you want to read that or whatever.
Linus Baker leads a quiet, solitary life. At 40, he lives in a tiny house with a devious cat and his old records. I'm already into it.
Next month's theme is cats.
Cats! Oh my goodness. As a caseworker at the department in charge of magical youth, he spends his days overseeing the well-being of children in government-sanctioned orphanages. When Linus is unexpectedly summoned by extremely upper management, he's given a curious and highly classified assignment. Travel to Marsyas Island Orphanage, where 6 dangerous children reside: a gnome, a sprite, a wyvern, an unidentifiable green blob, a were-Pomeranian, and the Antichrist.
That's like my favorite thing you've ever said. We're Pomeranian and the Antichrist.
Linus must set aside his fears and determine whether or not they're likely to bring about the end of days. But the children aren't the only secret the island keeps. Their caretaker is the charming and enigmatic Arthur Parnassus, who'll do anything to keep his ward safe. As Arthur and Linus grow closer, long-held secrets are exposed, and Linus must make a choice: destroy a home or watch the world burn. An enchanting story, masterfully told, is about the profound experience of discovering an unlikely family in unexpected places and realizing that family is yours. The end.
Yes, I think it sounds really good. Everyone, a lot of the reads say that it's like a cozy, like it's just a good, you need a hug book. It's about found family.
Yeah.
It's LGBT. It's gotten just rave reviews, and I really am curious about the author, but I've never read anything by him, so I think it's a great pick.
Me too. I'm excited.
Danny says, so no Enchantra then. That's the sequel to Phantasma, which he's currently listening to the audiobook of. Yeah, he's going to adopt the Antichrist. Probably not. I mean, we just haven't done a lot of sequels. I think the only time we would make an exception is if it's one that we knew a lot of people read.
Yeah.
For instance, like if you did like... It would have to be one that, we've read the first book of in book club. Mm-hmm. And one that a lot of people read the first time around.
Yeah, like... The only one I could I plan on reading the second book in the Fourth Wing series.
Yeah, a lot of people have read that.
But I don't know if we need to do it for book club even.
So we probably could do Iron Flame because a lot of people did read that book. And a lot of our friends in book club have read it. And
for like historical library purposes for YouTube, like other people out there someday may want to hear what we have to say about it. Or we could do like Lord of the Rings or something. But I'd love it. Like unfortunately Phantasma, not a lot of people read that with us. Yeah. Except for Danny. I just can't do that much more like erotica. We need a romantasy break. Yeah. Except for Scuss, which I'm all for all the romantasy. Yeah. Just give me all the Scuss. So let's talk about starter villain. Okay, so starter villain is what I picked. Adam, tell me if this sounds good to you. I mean, now I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have picked red shirts, but I don't know. I really want to read this, and I also love that the theme will be cats, because I love cats. Look at this cover. Meet the new boss. It's so cute. I love it. Okay, so this one came out in 2023. It's a sci-fi fantasy humor novel. It seems like it would be up anyone's alley if they're into something like Matt Dinniman, Hitchhiker's Guide, that kind of thing. It seems like it's that kind of thing where it's fantasy, but it's taken very lightly. It's got a 4.13 on Goodreads, and it was a nominee for favorite science fiction, and its average is 4 stars. It's 264 pages, so it's not even that long. Just a little guy. And here's the kicker, like all of John Scalzi's books, except for one that was nominated, they're all narrated by Will Wheaton. One of his books he had narrated twice. Once by Will Wheaton and once by Amber Benson. Okay. No idea why. That's his locked-in book. But I love Will Wheaton. His read of Ready Player One was super fun. So I'm probably going to do the audiobook of this one, or both. So this is about a guy who inherits his uncle's supervillain business. And it says it's more complicated than you might think, particularly when you discover who's running the place. Charlie's life is going nowhere fast. He's a divorced substitute teacher, living with his cat. I mean, it sounds like he's living his best life. Yeah. In a house his siblings want to sell. All he wants to do is open a pub downtown, like you do, if only the bank will approve the loan. His long-lost uncle Jake dies and leaves his supervillain business, complete with island volcano lair. Yes, to Charlie. But becoming a supervillain isn't all giant laser death rays and lava pits. Jake had enemies, and now they're coming after Charlie. His uncle might have been a stand-up, old-fashioned kind of villain. I'm getting like a Dr. Evil vibe from this uncle. Yeah, I was thinking like Despicable Me. Yes, Gru! Yes, I love Gru. Yeah. But these are the real thing. Rich, soulless predators backed by multinational corporations and venture capital. It's up to Charlie to win the war his uncle started against a league of supervillains. But his unionized dolphins, hyper-intelligent talking spy cats, and a terrifying hench person at his side, going bad is starting to look pretty good. I love it. I'm so excited. It sounds super fun. We got some good reads this month. Okay, so Adam, does this sound good to you? Or do you want me to switch to red shirts? Because I actually think, especially if I like this one, I really want to read red shirts. I also want to read the Kaiju Preservation Society. I want to read that one too. Mm-hmm. So we could go either way on these ones. He's super precious. Who's super precious? Oh, the cat? Yeah. He is super precious. Both sound good. Okay, so will you read Starter Villain with us, Adam? Please. Please? And thank you. And thank you.
And if you want to read The House in the Cerulean Sea with us too, like, I know we're asking for so much.
That's a lot to ask for.
But when people read the books, it's fun.
It is fun. It gives us
I'm
more
probably
to
going to listen to the audiobook with Danny for Starter Villain. And if... let's do Starter Villain. Okay, yes, because especially if we like it, we'll probably go ahead and read Red Shirts and the other ones too. Because we've come back to a lot of authors we like. We've read a lot of Grady Hendrix.
Yes, we have.
Because we love Grady Hendrix.
He's the best.
Yes.
Nobody does it
We're
better.
going to come back to Matt Dinniman. There's a few authors we really like. I'm sure it's not the last time we've read Tolkien.
No.
So.
Even I could probably read, like, Riley Sager again.
Yeah. I like Riley Sager.
Yeah.
I also like Rachel Harrison. We haven't read any of her books, but, like, I'd be down for repeat. So, yay! So we're doing it. It's the month of cats. In July. Well, actually, I guess it would be June. Whatever. Okay.
When we see you at the end of July, we're going to be talking about books with cats.
Okay, yeah, my brain can't handle a lot. Anyway, so the next book club, Adam, I hope you're ready to mark your calendar, is our only friend. The next book club is July 24th.
Yep.
It's a Thursday, because it's always a Thursday.
Always a Thursday.
At 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And like I said, we have a massive document, and it's really ridiculous because I love me a spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. But I put on there, like, how many pages is it? Like, other things that we really love, some things that we consider that we kind of use to help pick our books each month. But we put on it anything that people recommend or anything we both really want to read. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of just look at it last minute before book club. We're like, oh, let's read that. So, yes.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah. I bet we can get Zigma to read this one, too, because it sounds like it's kind of...
I agree with that, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So, again, if you guys, if you think of anything that, outside of the stream, if you watch this later on, and there is a book that you love... Mm-hmm. Or you want to hear our thoughts on, or because we get super nerdy about the books, or you want just a buddy to read it with, recommend it to us. You can recommend books in the comments below. You can recommend books to us on Goodreads, Bluesky, Instagram, and Facebook. We are on all of the platforms. The links are in the doobly-doo down below.
The doobly-doo. I love that place. I love it down there.
And, of course, we're going to be doing a lot more polls and things here on the channel. So do subscribe so you get notified about all that stuff and we can get more input from you about what we're reading.
Love it.
Because when we all read the books, we're just, Kayla and I are just happier.
Yeah, it makes it more fun.
And Pipkin.
Yeah, Pipkin's always happy about it.
Oh my gosh, he's coming out. Ooh. I don't think they can see, but he's coming out of his little log.
Yeah.
He is God's favorite boy.
Well, everybody go read The Hobbit, too, no matter what.
Yes.
And then read these ones as well.
And both these books you can find on Amazon. So, yes, again, Delilah versus the Ghastly Grimm by T.L. McCoy and The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Highly recommend those.
Do it.
And please check out these books. Also, if you are ever curious when our next stream is, we do share them on our social media. And also on Goodreads, I always have a link and the date of the next one. And as soon as this is over, I will create the next one here on YouTube. So if you're subscribed, you should be able to see it. And then you can be like, I can't remember what book club is. And you can go check it out. But it's usually a Thursday toward the end of the month.
Which makes it real easy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
And we're excited to see you all in the new place next month.
Yeah. It's going to be great. Adventures. Like Bilbo. We're going on an adventure.
I love Bilbo.
Okay.
You do it this time.
Until next time. I don't know what you say.
Okay. Until we meet again.
Blessed be.